Now back to your regularly scheduled program. Megan Morales, again, thank you so much. She says, and this is on the list too, so we are going to talk about this, but she wants to know your thoughts on what's happening in Puerto Rico overall and how it might relate to Tulsi and her not commenting on what's occurring in, I'm going to mess this up, Mauna Kea in Hawaii.
Interesting. What is
right under that, Don Hooligan says like button. Thank you, Don, for that reminder. If you are watching and you enjoy the content, even after the Star Trek episode, or because of it, then don't forget to hit the like button. It'll make more people come hang out with us.
Ask her what's happening in Hawaii and for Mauna Kea.
Mauna Kea, that's the place that she mentioned. That's the name of the place. Let me go back to the super chat and read it. Because we do have on the list to talk about Tulsi Gabbard in Puerto Rico, but she's talking about how this might relate to Tulsi and not commenting on what's occurring here in Hawaii.
But I don't know what's occurring in Hawaii.
That's not this is how you spell it. Mauna, Mauna. Mauna Kea. There it is. Kea, Hawaii.
Protests.
So we'll have to check that out. We are not informed of what's going on there in Hawaii.
Praises protesters blocking access to Mauna Kea. All right, Hawaii Island Mayor Harry Kim praises protesters blocking access. Oh, the mountain. I remember this.
And
so
her
I know what
not
this is.
Commenting on it.
Well, that's interesting that she's not commenting on that. I mean, she was at Standing
Hawaiian.
Rock. And she's Hawaiian.
This is Hawaii.
And she literally went all the way to Puerto Rico.
You went to Puerto Rico, but whatever this is about.
Well, the wild part is, I made the argument the other day that Tulsi Gabbard was in Puerto Rico because Tulsi Gabbard is trying to stand near a fire and get some level of attention for her political campaign. It's not that she doesn't necessarily entirely not care about it. It's just that people have divided interests. And, when look, don't take my word for it. Look up Puerto Rico. And what I will guarantee you is you would see Tulsi Gabbard beside it.
It's politics.
It's politics.
When
She's a politician.
See something that's trending, then, you kind of jump on board.
She has to make a choice. Tulsi Gabbard says, all right, I need to get as much of attention as possible because I need to get to the third night debate and I haven't qualified for the third debate stage yet. All right. So, Tulsi, what do you want to do? And somebody in her campaign says, hey, there's a fire going on right now in Puerto Rico. There are protests that have 500,000 people. They're trying to take down the governor. Hey, if you show up at that protest, you will be a presidential candidate, one of 3 calling for that person to step down. Maybe you should do that. Okay, I'm going to do that. Now, why doesn't she do it in Hawaii? Because nobody knows that there's a protest going on in Hawaii. And if Tulsi Gabbard is out there protesting in Hawaii, Tulsi Gabbard would be doing that with a lot of people who nobody knows about. I didn't even, I knew it, but I didn't know the name of it, per se. And so, it's name recognition, and it's her job of trying to get support. That's not a negative. People took that as if I was dinging her for it. It is what it is. Her job as a politician is to get people to support her. And her
you're in the middle, not just a politician, but you are running for office.
For office.
You're running for
And more importantly, she
president.
has to be on the debate stage for the third debate, meaning she has to get enough donations and support to do so.
There are 22 people on the ticket or trying to be on the ticket or whatever the hell it is. And you have to stand out where you can. And so if that means going to everything that is trending and, being a part of the stuff that, then
you do that. You add yourself.
You're running for an office. You need to get your name out there.
Do you really think Kamala Harris cared that Joe Biden's busing policy was what that policy was when she had the exact same policy? No, she hit him because she's in a political campaign and she needs to win. And the same thing is true with Tulsi. That's not a negative. It's just part of the job. Lefties have this thing that people need to have, they need to be pure in their nonsense. People are not that way. And I would even argue if you're trying to be that way, you're going to lose. Her job is to get elected.
What else do we have about Tulsi?
We can change we can do that now. First. Yeah. Well, she's in Puerto Rico. And look, don't take my word for it. If you look up Puerto Rico, invariably, Tulsi's name would be right beside it. Her mission was accomplished. If Tulsi Gabbard did not support the protests in Puerto Rico and instead she did the one in Hawaii, when you look up Puerto Rico, you would not see Tulsi Gabbard's name. Right now, Tulsi Gabbard's name is with AOC, with Julian Castro, Ricky Martin. What do these people have in common versus Tulsi Gabbard? What they have in common is they're Hispanic. I guess I'm making the point is this. Don't ding her for this. This is not a negative. She is doing her job. It is not so much that she doesn't care about corruption. She probably does care about corruption. It's just that it's a dual purpose.
Kimberly said, Tulsi is a hustler. It's a good thing.
That's not a negative.
She said it's a good thing.
Like the thing is, her brand is apolitical. That's nonsense. Anywhere you are is where you're at.
Really?
And, when she's hitting, what's her name? People like, oh, you're trying to take what's earnestness as politics. No, you're trying to take what's politics as earnestness. There is a difference in those things. There may be times where she's earnest. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying everything that she does is just, I'm just saying this very specific instance. This is
You had
politics.
a goal.
You have a goal.
You had a
Get
goal.
elected.
Garden Gnome says, what's going on in Puerto Rico is completely unacceptable. While we waste time focusing on the unknowable minds of people whom we have never met, people continue to suffer.
Yes. But what's going on in Puerto Rico
In the end, all that matters is the fact that she draws attention to it.
Yes. Yes. Well, no. Well, the ends are subjective, and it depends on your objective. Like that's not an absolute. If you are Tulsi Gabbard, what matters is not that you draw attention to it; it's that you draw attention to yourself. If you are the people in Puerto Rico, what matters is that Tulsi Gabbard draws the attention.
Am I optimistic in believing that her?
Don't misunderstand me. I'm saying
she wants to bring attention to Puerto Rico.
Your objectives, what matters is determined by your objectives. That's not an absolute. That's determined by the individual. If you're Tulsi, you want attention. If you're Puerto Rico, you are glad that Tulsi is there because you want them to draw attention to it. Does it make sense?
I get it, but I'm talking about from Tulsi's perspective.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's like, right, exactly.
It's dual interest. I mean, look, what's taking place in Puerto Rico is unacceptable. I agree with you, Garden. I mean, you had what was an outright travesty. I mean, they were flattened by that hurricane. And even though they're a colony of the United States, when Trump got in office, he acted like, these guys were some other person's responsibility. They were ours. If that was Texas, we wouldn't have this disaster capitalism thing of, okay, we're going to let these people essentially run roughshod. And then secondary to that, so not only do you have a Republican administration that is looking to take advantage of the fact that you're a colony, but you also have a government in Puerto Rico that was slow walking and was corrupt with the money that they were getting for this storm. So meaning the little money that you were getting or the money that you were getting was being shuffled to contractors who couldn't do the job. So it made their situation that much worse on top of it from a standpoint of their living situations. And then to add insult to injury, those people got popped for corruption. I think it was like 12 people that got popped in a corruption scheme with that money that was supposed to be going to the people of Puerto Rico. And then on top of that, emails get leaked or chat logs get leaked.
This is about the newest drama.
The chat logs get leaked where the governor is laughing at dead Puerto Ricans as a result of the storm. Not to mention being homophobic, being misogynistic. It's just disgusting logs. I think there was like 900 pages of logs. And so if you're part of Puerto Rico and, you've just had a storm where people were dying in that storm and this guy's supposed to be your governor and he's joking about the fact that you guys were dying and you guys are in misery, there's a certain angst and anger. Do you realize he got in office, they said about 600,000 people. There were like 500,000 people at that protest. Estimate. It's unconscionable. And I don't know how you stay in office with that many people marshaled on an island. You and I were in Puerto Rico. You were being real racist when we were there, talking about climbing the tree and, talking about Africans climbing a tree. If a white person said that, you'd be like, that's racist. I was trying to climb a tree to get a coconut. And she was saying some real racist stuff when I was trying to climb that tree.
You remember what I said?
You were trying to say you couldn't do it because you were Indian as opposed to African. Yeah. Hang your head. Hang your head.
I did make a joke because he was acting like he was going to climb a tree and get a coconut. And I said, maybe if you tap something along the lines, because this was, 4 years ago.
Yeah, we're joking.
Maybe if you tapped into your African genes, because he's always like he has a lot of Native American in his family, and so not like he has real, not like Elizabeth Warren, but he has real Native American in his family, so he always talks about that. But I said something like maybe if you tapped into that African in your family, you can climb the tree. It was a bit racist.
Yeah, it was funny.
It was in jest.
But he does give a point.
Can you check the Streamlabs before we go on to make sure that we don't have to backtrack to a topic?
Yes.
We've got about 150 people here. Thank you. Somebody said quit bullying me. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate you.
All right.
But I can handle my own too.
What was I talking about before? The before we got to the racist stuff.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh yeah, Tulsi.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah. So look, that's what's going on in Puerto Rico. It's unconscionable, and they're trying to get that governor to resign. And other Democrats started weighing in on it. So Tulsi Gabbard, I think, is like the third Democrat to weigh in outside of Castro and ALC.
Yes, we're going to talk about that.
Oh, and by the way, even the representative from Puerto Rico in Congress, even though she doesn't have any voting power, is calling for that person to step down. Even Rick Scott of Florida is calling for that person to step down. Like, it's bipartisan at the Senate, where they're like, dude, I don't know if he's going to do it, but, they're making this argument that how do you govern at this point? I mean, you were on that island with me. The whole point about Puerto Rico, it's this tiny island. Like, it's not big.
Yeah.
And the notion that you have that many people. Also, it kills me when bad stuff happens to places that we've been. Like, because I can identify with the people on a more individual level, as opposed to, just kind of, apolitical my ass. Tulsi, I am a veteran. Yeah, I don't think she's apolitical. Apolitical my ass. Tulsi, I am a veteran of 2 tours. Gabbard. George Bush doesn't care about, Tulsi Gabbard doesn't care about Native Hawaiian people. Oh, kills for a living. Well, folks, you've seen it. JT beating his work wife. Damn shame. I never thought I would see it.
That was when you were wilding out on the Star Trek thing and you assaulted me. So thank you, Kills for a Living.
Look, happened. Tulsi, I am a veteran of 2 tours. Gabbard, yes, stop thinking she's apolitical. She's not. She's not. None of them are. But you don't want them to be, because apolitical people lose. Lefties, I'm going to be honest about lefties for a moment. There's something to be said about this notion of earnestness, ethics, all those things. And all those things are good. And the public should try to hold politicians to those things. The problem is the incentives that are built into being a politician they don't go in that direction. I mean, you're in a situation where you're trying to appease all of these various different groups in order to get elected. How do you do it? The moment that you say you're okay with one, another one is going to put a knife in you, and you're stuck in this thing of trying to balance these ends. It built into the process is a certain degree of lying and deceit, especially if you believe you need cash to get elected. Because in all honestness, you're going to be working at the behest of the cash, not the individuals. But you have to tell those people something. Mm-hmm. Because if you tell them I'm here for the cash, then they're not going to do it. The interesting thing about Sanders' campaign is that he's getting paid by us. So it's like he lives or dies by us in an odd degree. You know what I mean? Democrats have another way of doing it where they say, the other guy's a horrible lunatic. And what do you want to do? Do you want to vote that lunatic in or us? But the moment that you get somebody who's not that, then that argument starts to lose ground. But it's, look, there's a certain degree of distrustfulness built into the process. And I got to be honest, to some degree, you do need a knife, or at least somebody in your steed to have a knife. Superman needs a Batman. Otherwise, Superman is going to get killed. All right.
Did you have an update on Tulsi's progress in regards to getting on the debate stage?
In regard to the third debate stage, so as you know, and this will end up on Tulsi, so this will be the, we'll put a knife and finish this one up. So, as you know, the Democratic Party has this kind of weird way of trying to get people on the debate stage. Initially, it was 65,000 donations with, I think it was 1% in the polls. Well, that's doubling now. So you're going to need 130,000 in donations with, I think, 3% in the polls. So Tulsi is trying to get on the debate stage. Right now, I think she's at 100,000, or she's probably crossed over 100,000 by now. So she needs about 20,000 more. She's pushing for it. And by no means is it impossible for her to do so. I mean, we only have gone through the first debate. The second debate is coming up. And so she has time. And, that's where she's at right now. And depending on how well she does in the second debate, a lot of fundraising is the debates. Like, because think of it from the standpoint of people who are donating. You're donating as long as you believe your donations matter. If you think your campaign or your politician is not going to do it, right, at that point, the incentive for you to donate to somebody who you think is pointless is pointless.
And to be clear, it's something that I realized the more that I understand the political process. I might donate to Tulsi Gabbard, not because I think she has a chance of winning, but because I want her to be on the debate stage, because I want her point of view and the conversations to be had. And so,
not all objectives are to take the king.
Right, we talked about that one.
Yeah, not all objectives. It's not you sit down on move one is like, all right, how do I checkmate this king on move one? It doesn't work that way. You, as a lefty, have various objectives, just like Tulsi would have. Tulsi's objective is to win. Tulsi's objective may be to go. Whatever her objectives are is secondary from my own specific objectives. My specific objective is I want her on the debate stage.
Right.
Whether she wins or not is irrelevant to me. I want her on the debate stage.
Yeah.
So.
All right, moving on from Tulsi Gabbard.